So I've got here a marvellous teaching, Tilopa's Mahamudra teaching to Naropa. I got this off Keith Dowman's website, and there's one piece here. I'm just going to read one line for a start. By harbouring rigid precepts, the true samaya is impaired. That's pretty powerful. That says that rigid precepts are not the true samaya. That says that the kind of rules like you can't criticize your teacher and you must obey everything your teacher says is not the true samaya. That's a rigid precept. And what I'm seeing in this present situation is that very rigidly being applied to people who've spoken out about what they see as abuse by their spiritual teacher. And, you know, there's this teaching that says you mustn't criticize your teacher once you've, taken an empowerment from your teacher, and you must obey everything that they say. Well, that's fine in a certain circumstance. If the guy is really, a great guy and behaves properly, it's just not a problem. You had no reason to criticize him. But when he doesn't behave properly, then it isn't helpful, if you get told basically to shut up. That doesn't help anyone, especially when other people come along and also find themselves in a situation that is basically pretty unhealthy. So again, by harbouring rigid precepts, the true samaya is impaired. Now that indicates that true samaya is way beyond rigid precepts, and that's pretty much how it appears to me when I look inside into my heart. Because yes, I have spoken out about what I see as abuse. I have criticised my teacher. I kind of try and minimise it as much as possible. But, in here, in my heart, that samaya is still there. I know that samaya is there. Somebody outside of me can say, "Ooh, you're a samaya breaker." Well, fine. You can make whatever judgment you want. But I know in my heart that the love for that teacher who introduced me to the nature of my mind is still there, and it's still strong. And it doesn't have anything to do with rules and regulations. It's got to do with a heart connection. And my teacher said that. He said a lot of great stuff. And when I look at this, that's cutting to the chase. The rest of the passage goes, by harbouring rigid precepts, the true samaya is impaired. But with cessation of mental activity, all fixed notions subside. When the swell of the ocean is at one with its peaceful depths, when mind never strays from indeterminate, non-conceptual truth, the unbroken samaya is a lamp lit in spiritual darkness. So what's spiritual darkness? Is spiritual darkness like criticizing something that you see is not right? No. That's such an external thing. Right? The guts of the Dharma is internal. So what is spiritual darkness? I think it's when you cut yourself off completely from your own true nature. And if you look at the teachings on pure perception, the essence of samaya is seeing everything. Everything. Everyone as a Buddha, including yourself, and seeing everything purely all the time. Meaning you're always seeing the true nature of reality. Now, that's a big ask, we don't basically manage to do that. So, it's kind of inherent in the teachings that you're going to kind of not manage to do that all the time. So that's cool. What do you do then? You're forever walking across this slippery log trying to stay on, and you're forever falling off it, and you're forever climbing back on. So, I figure you keep trying. And, there's Vajrasattva practice, the purification practice, which is designed to help you purify your samaya. And how does it do it? Well, to me, this could be completely wrong because I'm no scholar. but I like to get inside my practice. And when you've got, Vajrasattva up there, and there's you, your ordinary person, but you've got the light, you've got the light, the lamp coming down into you from Vajrasattva, cleaning out all your obscurations, all your negative karma and your physical illnesses and all of that kind of stuff, cleaning it all out. And then at the end of that, Vajrasattva melts into light, melts into you, you become Vajrasattva. There you are. You've regained your samaya, you've regained your pure perception, you've become a Buddha. You are Vajrasattva. And if you're sitting there and you really have arisen as Vajrasattva, your samaya is purified. It doesn't matter if you've said, hey, look, man, you are not behaving right. At least that's how I see it. No, other people don't see it that way. So I'm just going to read this again. By harbouring rigid precepts, the true samaya is impaired. But with cessation of mental activity, all fixed notions subside. When the swell of the ocean is at one with its peaceful depths, when mind never strays from indeterminate non-conceptual truth, the unbroken samaya is a lamp lit in spiritual darkness. The swell of the ocean, you might remember that analogy of the waves as being the thoughts and emotions and the ocean being awareness. So here we're talking about the swell of the ocean. If the swell of the ocean is at one with its peaceful depths, which means it doesn't matter what you're saying. If you know that the essence of what you're saying is exactly the same as the essence of everything, the essence of your nature mind, if you know there's no difference. If you're acting, just to bring it down a little bit, if you're acting from a space of love, how does that break samaya? One of the things that I have learned from discovering that my teacher is not who I thought he was is to really turn to my own wisdom. And, the Buddha really encouraged that. So I've been looking inside a lot. And that's what I've come to. You might come to a different decision. By harbouring rigid precepts, the true samaya is impaired. That says it all. We need to look at the real meaning of these concepts and not get caught up in what are basically, they're relative teachings. They're an application of the absolute. And maybe, they were given at a time when people weren't quite as intellectual as we are now. Our Western minds are pretty finely tuned to be thinking a lot, which is probably a problem. But the abstract thinking is not such an issue for us. And I think a lot of Westerners actually, they came to the Dharma because of the absolute teachings, because they're the ones that make sense to them. Not something like, you can't criticize your teacher. That's not the kind of teaching that brought me to the Dharma. And, that's not saying that I'm going to pick and choose and just ignore what doesn't suit me on my path. No, it means I'm going to search for the real meaning, for the absolute meaning, for the genuine meaning. And which, of course, brings me to mind of the four reliances. Don't rely on the personality of the teacher, rely on his words. Don't rely on the words themselves, but the meaning of them. Don't take the obvious meaning, go for the wisdom meaning, and rely not on your ordinary conceptual mind, rely on your wisdom mind. And that just tells us to look inside, to really look inside, and to see what rings true for us. And for me, these words point me in the right direction. Rigid precepts impair the true samaya. It's absolutely brilliant. And That's why, despite all the shit that's been going down recently with the Rigpa debacle, these kind of words is what keeps me with the Dharma, keeps me with the Mahamudra and the Dzogchen traditions. Because this stuff cuts right to the guts of it. I hope that helps.